We welcome you to our weekly one-on-one with head coach Nick Sirianni, presented by Wawa. I'm Eagles insider Dave Spadaro. Eagles coming off a big win in Detroit. Congratulations, coach. I'd like to start with Boston Scott and Jordan Howard, two players who enjoyed very fine summers, good preseasons, good training camps, and then they have to be very patient to wait for their names to be called, and then in Detroit they deliver. What does that mean to you when that happens? And I feel like there's a Nick Sirianni story brewing in this experience some way or another.
I just think that it just, epitomizes them as pros, right? They had to sit behind, Miles, they had to sit behind Kenny and wait their turn to get some meaningful carries. And when they did, they made some great plays and they did a lot of good things in that game. So they're going to be the prime example of what you need to do and how you need to be a pro and how you need to come to work every day and be ready when your number's called. And when you do, what a great example for young guys that are backups right now, right? To see Jordan do what he did or Boston do what he did, that, when they came in, Jordan hadn't had any carries, right? Comes in and scores, gets 12 really good runs, really physical runs, and scores 2 touchdowns. Same with Boston. And so obviously really excited about that, and they'll be my story moving forward.
Okay, so weeks and weeks ago, you heard questions about the penalties, and so many penalties. The last 3 weeks here, 4 against Tampa Bay, 4 against the Raiders, 2 on Sunday against Detroit. The numbers have come way down in terms of penalties and the pre-snap penalties as well. Why is that happening?
I just think we're trying to grow every day in every category and every little thing that we're doing, and so our emphasis was to make sure that we cut down the penalties. And again, it's not. We have a system when we talk about it. We talk about it after every practice, the penalties that happen. We talk about it in every staff meeting, all the coaches together, right? We talk about it every Saturday with around the league. And so we have a process that we love to follow that, that really emphasizes on how you can't beat yourself and the rules. And so again, sometimes that takes some time to show the fruits of your labor, right? That you put in this work and it's not showing it initially, and it's not showing initially, but you keep putting the work in anyway, and you double down on the things that you believe in. You double down on the process. You double down on that Saturday meeting. You double down on that staff meeting where you're talking about it and you're talking with the players, and eventually the fruit will show, right? And so I think that's what the last 3 weeks have been has been a little bit of the fruit of our labors, and and that we just need to keep working on it.
Players last week, Nick, were really public and in the messaging, talking about the messaging that you've provided and talking about the impact it's had on them. I wondered, what does that mean to you? How much do you appreciate the fact that they're making public what you're telling them? It's certainly having a lasting impression.
Sure, I think any message, again, it's like the penalty thing, right? You want to see the fruits of your labor, right? You want to keep putting work in, and you want to keep whatever your messaging is. You want to keep driving it home again, so the roots grow and so everything can spring up. And so, yeah, I mean that's everything. Like that could be a play, all right, that we talk about, right? That a running play that we talk about with the right landmark, and you just keep going over it over and over and over again. It could be, like I said, it could be the penalties, it could be the messaging. So that's always satisfying in coaching, where you're driving points home and it's getting through to your guys, and the only reason you do that is to put the guys in the best position to succeed and help them succeed. And that's what we're here for as coaches, to support our players and to help them succeed in any way we can.
We'd like to talk about the running game, Nick, and just kind of your thoughts on how you feel about it from a consistency standpoint, from a week in, week out standpoint. How do you feel about that group delivering?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're asking me that after a big time win and a big time rushing performance that was pretty unique. It was pretty awesome to watch. I mean, they were just so physical up front. Our guys were just so physical up front, right? And I believe at this point I think we're 5th in the NFL in rushing. And so anytime you're in the top 5 in category, you feel like you're like, all right, let's go. We can continue to build on this, and we can continue to win with our run game, and it sets up everything else. And so, again, that goes back to those veterans that you were talking about. Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson, right? To have those guys leading the way, that's huge, right? Because the leaders of your team got to be the good players too, right? They got to have they have a voice for a reason because they're good players. And so love the fact that we've gotten the run game going and that we ran the ball that way we did yesterday. That's going to come into play when the weather starts to change. I hope it's snowing and 30 degrees this week. I know probably not everybody feels the same way I feel, but I'd love for it to feel that way with these guys from LA coming up. But you got to be able to do that, especially here in the Northeast later in the year. So we're just, again, trying to establish something that's going to be able to last, through the rest of the season and moving forward.
This team has shifted gears at tight end midseason. Not a lot of teams do that. Dallas Goedert has responded. Just like when you look at him, what does he do well? What is his skill set, and how does it fit into what you want from a tight end?
I think what's really unique about Dallas is that he's this dynamic pass catcher who can run and change directions and snag the ball out of the air, and he's so strong at the top. Like, not everybody gets open with strength. Not everybody gets open with speed. Not everybody gets open with quickness, right? He gets open with all three of those things, right? That's a unique thing to have. And then he's just so dangerous with the ball in his hands. Like, you get that guy the ball in his hands in the open field, and people got to go tackle that guy. I mean, that's not an easy thing to go tackle that guy. I'm not sure. I don't know the weight. What's the weight difference between Jordan Howard and Dallas? But to tackle those guys all game, that's going to have to be tough. But and then where I think what makes Dallas special is that he's a complete package, right? He's also able to do a lot of things in the run game, and it's not just like, hey, he can survive in the run game. It's like he can thrive in the run game, right? He can move people in the run game. He can cut off a 6 technique. He can reach a 9 technique, right? He can pull when he needs to pull. He can block one-on-one when he needs to block. He can slice the defensive end when he needs to slice. He can arc and get a safety or arc and get a corner and block a D end or a linebacker. I mean, like, that's a hard job. Like, and he's doing it really well.
Sunday, the Chargers come to town. The defense has Bosa on the front end and James on the back end. They give you a bunch of looks. What's the challenge against that scheme?
Ooh. Yeah, they got some good players over there, and I think I got a lot of respect for Coach Staley. He's a great defensive coordinator. The challenge in the scheme, again, is they're multiple in things that they do, but it's always going to start with their players, right? And we're always going to talk about their players. They're good players, and there's no doubt. Obviously, I was in San Diego when it was San Diego and Bosa was there. I know what kind of pass rusher he can be just from practice, and then obviously all the things he's done in the league. And I wasn't there when Derwin James was there, but I know he's a lot to handle. He's again, the way I talked about Dallas with how he can do it in the run game and the pass game, that's what this guy can do too. He can do it in the run game and the pass game. He's a force to. You're gonna have to figure out ways to block him in the run game and be on your game to get open on him in the pass game. And so again, just know we're gonna have our work cut out for us and be able. We're just gonna have to go to work though and go to work every single day, practice hard every single day to put ourselves in position to be able to win this football game on Sunday.
And then finally, their quarterback, Justin Herbert. Shane, of course, knows him from last year, working with him. How do you evaluate Herbert and what he does well?
Yeah, Shane obviously knows him well. He knows his strengths. He knows, whatever weaknesses he has. And so, we're going to have to talk, Shane, and I know Shane and Jonathan have already talked a little bit about that and those things. I've made myself available. I wasn't there with Justin, but, I was Keenan's position coach. I was Mike Williams' position coach. So I made myself available to Denard and to Coach Wilson and to Coach Gannon. And so because we do have some inside information on them. So, but those are good players. Those are really good football players. And so any little information, every little extra helps when you're playing against good players. I think they've done a good job of getting good players in there. Because again, we talked about the guys on defense, and then we talk about Herbert, and we talk about Allen, and we talk about Williams. We got to go out there and play a good game to be able to win this football game because we know they're talented and we know they're well coached.
Should be a great game on Sunday. Coach Nick Sirianni, thanks so much. Our weekly one-on-one presented by Wawa. Get a win on Sunday.
Thanks, Dave.